Maposi's grandson is coming. Akka Meenakshi Akka is here. She is also a granddaughter of Vavusi. இவங்களுக்குலாம் அவங்க பிளட் சுகர் பார்க்குறதுக்கோ இல்லை அவங்களுடைய கொலஸ்ட்ரால் பார்க்குறதுக்கோ பிளட் எடுத்தால் கூட அந்த பிளட்டில் ஓடும் சுதந்திர வீரம், அந்த பிளட்டில் ஓடும். Maposi's grandson is also on the way. So we have the great Shempagaraman Pillai. For students, there's a book outside that we are giving to everybody. It's a great man, Dr. Shempagaraman Pillai, who brought the Emden and attacked Madras. Such a great man who could speak 12 languages. Shempagaraman Pillai taught Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose how to attack East India Company, and his grandson is here. The great Kiyape Viswanathan Pillai's grandson, and my dear friend and brother, Mr. Srikanth Karnesh is also here. So we have a number of distinguished people here. So I would like to start by saying, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan's birthday is September 5th, and that is why we celebrate Teachers' Day today. But I was surprised when I put that on the net. A number of people told me, why do you want to go after S. Radhakrishnan? I want to make something very, very important point here. A man who's a great religious philosopher, who's a writer, who was nominated 27 times for the Nobel Prize. Nobody else has been nominated 27 times for the Nobel Prize. Who wrote so deeply on religious philosophy, including Vedanta. A man who was the vice president of our country. A man who was the vice chancellor not only for Andhra University, not only for Mysore, not only for Calcutta, but also for Kasi Hindu University, which is now Banaras Hindu University, but also for a university in the UK. Paddington University in the UK. He was the Vice Chancellor for that as well. Very rare. He was ambassador for India. And he was a Vice President and then a President. Talking about VOC Pillai, big mistake of mine. One of our current VOC Pillai, a person who's heading the Mundayars and Pillamas for entire state, a man who in my mind is a true selfless hero. I would like to recognize him. Mr. Chandrasekhar, please stand up. அவர் ஃப்ரண்ட் ரோக்கு வந்தால் இல்லைங்கிறாரு, ஸ்டேஜுக்கு வானா இல்லைங்கிறாரு. அவர் இது டிப்பிக்கல். மிஸ்டர் சிதம்பரம், உங்கள் வாவசி இவங்க மாதிரி அண்ணே சும்மா உட்காந்துட்டு போங்க, நீங்கள் வாங்க அண்ணே வாங்க. இதை தான் பிரச்சனை. இந்த வாவசி ஃபேமிலி கூட இதை தான். யாரோ many people have called me and said we want to donate some lakhs. ஃபோன் பண்ணால் அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க, நாங்கள் எடுத்துக்க மாட்டோம் யாரும், நாங்கள் வாவசி ரத்தவங்க. ரியல் ட்ரூ ஸ்டோரி ஐ எம் சேயிங் டுடே பிஃபோர் த யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ். காசுன்னு அலையிற ஒரு உலகத்தில், காசுன்னு அலையிற உலகத்தில் உங்களுக்கு ஃபோன் பண்ணி somebody wants to donate 5 lakhs. No, we will not touching her. We are VOC's family people. Ask them to put it in a trust somewhere. When we will tell you, when we identify some poor students, let them come and give the money to the students. We will live in poverty, but we will live nobly. In சொல்ற blood வாவசியுடைய blood. These are the real heroes, youngsters. Halabitu Habibi is not hero, he is hero. These are the real heroes who gave the blood for you. Those guys are taking your money and taking your blood. Remember that. So, I want to say some very interesting stories about Dr. S. Radhakrishnan that all of you must know. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan had a habit. யாரை பார்த்தாலும் கண்ணத்தை இப்படி பிடிப்பாரான். என்ன ராஜா எப்படி இருக்கேன்னு இப்படி கண்ணத்தை பிடிப்பாரான். The only man in Tamil Nadu, only Tamil man in the world who was killed by the Nazis was Mr. Sethu Seshan's grandfather, Dr. Shempagaraman Pillai, about whom I have written that book. Only Tamil person to be killed by the German Nazis. நமக்கு தெரியாது அவரை பற்றி. ஏன்னா நம்ம ஹலபித்து அபிபி பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிறோம் காலையிலேருந்து ராத்திரி வரைக்கும். The book is outside. Take and read the book. It is free for you. You just have to give the time. Similarly, the only person who caught Mao Zedong, chairman of China, everybody was scared of him. He used to kill millions of people. Hello Mao Zedong nu kai eppadi vecharam. Whole area, everybody just became very quiet. They thought immediately Mao Zedong will order the killing of S. Radhakrishnan. He is the foreign affairs minister, ambassador. He goes there, hello Mao Zedong, eppadi parukka he is doing. Ellarum paakrangala. Chairman Mao became very angry. This man said 12 words that shut him up immediately. He said, don't worry, Mr. Chairman. I did the same thing to Stalin. That time Stalin was a much bigger power. Number Stalin annala, this Joseph Stalin. Appo nama Sanatana ad mari solliduvom, vera route la poiduvom. He said I did the same, and he has actually caught Stalin. Only man to catch Stalin like this was Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. எனக்கும் அவரோட ஒரு சில ரைட்டிங்ஸ்க்கும் we may have some differences. Celebrate the man accept the differences. I'm saying this because I know that thanks to our friends, Win TV, Doordarshan, Raj TV, Base, all of you are getting it. I want to give this message outside. Just because we don't agree with one or two lines that somebody wrote, it doesn't make that man a villain. He is still a great man. Adha nama accept pananum. Similarly, another funny thing about S. Radhakrishnan, he met the king of Greece, was coming. King of Greece varan, avara meet பண்ணிட்டு எல்லாரும் king னு சொன்னாங்க. இவர் ஜாலியா உள்ள போய் சொல்றான். You know, he said, sir, this is the first time somebody is coming from Greece, a king is coming from Greece to India on invitation. The last time Alexander came, nobody invited him. He just came and killed all of us in Nara. The king of Greece was so happy that this is recorded in Greece. The funny things told to our great rulers and solely, it is put in there. We must accept these things. Joseph Stalin, 6 months before he died, the Russian ambassador was S. Radhakrishnan. Appa Joseph Stalin, he had a private moment with Radhakrishnan and he said, I have killed millions of people. You all know about the purge. When Russia became red, millions of people were killed. He said, I have killed millions of people. I don't know what to do. And S. Radhakrishnan is supposed to have told him, those who can't get on upstairs, we've got another 30-40 seats in there, please. Hello, man. He said, don't worry. More than what you have killed, our king Ashoka, Samrat Ashoka has killed even millions of people. Still, we all remember him to this day. You can also live like that in Solli. There is a famous meeting point of Joseph Stalin, the killer of millions of Russians, and S. Radhakrishnan. I want to tell you a story about 1954 American Congress. Everybody's looking at Vivek Ramaswamy and Biden and all of these people in Congress. In 1954 American Congress, S. Radhakrishnan is speaking. He said a very famous line which is recorded in the American Congress. He said, no society is static. No law is unchangeable. And no constitution is permanent. Every society undergoes changes. I'm saying this for a background reason. Some of you will understand. Every society undergoes changes and fabric of society will make those changes in the constitution. Sonnara Radhakrishnan. One congressman was sitting and taking notes when Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was speaking. 8 years later, that congressman called Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan to Washington and he said those same lines to Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. That congressman had become the president of the United States. And this is recorded in the memoirs of John F. Kennedy. He took that paragraph from Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. How can we be against him? One of the first people to be knighted in 1931 was Sir Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. But still, because he said, Sir, slave I remain. Sir and sonale, slave I remain. Why should we remain as slaves to the white people? Independence aana mudal naale, please do not call me sir and solli ஒரு circular அனுப்பி PhD வாங்கினதுனால டாக்டர் சர்வப்பள்ளி நம்ம டாக்டர் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் சொல்கிறோம், சார் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் சொல்கிறோம். அப்படி நினச்ச ஒரு மனுஷன் சர்வப்பள்ளி ராதாகிருஷ்ணன். சிமிலர்லி ராதாகிருஷ்ணன்ஸ் பர்த்டேன்னு செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணணும்னு சொன்னாங்க 1962. He said, no, please call it Teachers' Day. He didn't put his name there on top. One of the first people in the country who took only 1/4 of his salary. President, he became in 1962. His salary was 10,000 rupees. He took only 2,500 rupees and asked that the remaining 7,500 rupees be put into the Prime Minister's Relief Fund. The second person to do that, wait panni clap pannalame. The second person to do that was Abdul Kalam. I was fortunate in 2003 to meet Abdul Kalam. And Abdul Kalam sir told me, at that time I told him, sir, I read that you didn't take your salary. He said, what about me? Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was the first to do that. Abdul Kalam had a greatness. He referred to Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. So many things he did. I want to tell you one more thing. He was such a popular teacher. He was vice chancellor in Mysore, moving from Mysore to Calcutta. They had a carriage for him with horses to take this man to the railway station to go to Calcutta. All the students did a big strike, moved the carriage horses away, and 20 students got together and pulled the carriage of Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan from the Mysore College up to the station. You think he can give money and get it? You think he can give the BBC election beer, biryani and cash? You think he can give BBC and get it? They did it out of love. And you students must remember that there are such beloved people like him. Madan Mohan Malaviya is one of the greatest leaders of our country, a man who started the great Banaras Hindu University, Kasi Hindu University. He requested Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan to be the vice chancellor. This is before he became vice president. He said, I can only come on one condition. And that condition is that I will not take any salary as a vice chancellor. These are all people who put the country before themselves. They put the country before money. That is why 140 years after they were born, we are still talking about them. And that is why people like Bausi are still being talked about. I want to say one more thing before I finish. I've read some of his works, and yes, there are one or two paragraphs that we do not agree with. Some things say that he believed in Vedanta, he believed in some of the, I believe in Vedanta. But one or two lines, interpretations, people are different. Paravaile. My request to all you students is, think of all the good things that these great people have done for us. To quote Shakespeare in Julius Caesar, he'll say, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. This is what happens. All the good that a man does, he leaves his salary, the students are pulling him, he does so many things, everything is interred with the bones. And just that evil that men do, one thing, his interpretation of Varnashram, எனக்கும் அதுக்கு உடன்பாடு இல்லை. மனிதனை வந்து நம்ம எதிர்க்க வேண்டாம். அந்த ஒரு கோட்பாடு நமக்கு வித்தியாசமா இருக்கலாம். But he was a மாமனிதன், he was a great philosopher, he taught the world about Vedanta. In my mind, he was actually equated to Swami Vivekananda, and that is why he was so many times, he was nominated for the Nobel Prize, both for peace and for religion. So he is not a man that we should forget about. I'm saying this because many of my own relatives wrote to me and said, no, you should not talk about Dr. Radhakrishnan. Late last night, I discussed with my mother, and this morning, she said, no, he is such a great man. You should go and speak for him. And that is why I've spoken to you about Dr. Radhakrishnan. Let us remember him on this wonderful day. A great man who stood for so many things. As Dr. Ravindran said, he did not stand into politics. Still he became vice president, president, ambassador, etc. The route he chose was a route chosen by Abdul Kalam, both sons of the soil. With that, I want to stop talking about Dr. Radhakrishnan and go to the second half of my speech. And பாரதிதாசன் சொன்னாரு, பாரதிதாசன் சொல்லியிருக்காரு, தாயை மதிக்காதவனை நீ மதிக்கவே கூடாது, யார் தடுத்தாலும். தாய் மொழியை மதிக்காதவனை மதிக்கவே கூடாது, உன் தாய் தடுத்தாலும் சொன்னார். ஸோ அடுத்த பகுதி 10-15 minutes and I'll be done with I'm going to speak about Vavu Chidambaram Pillai, because a lot of the crowd here, we are all relatives of Vavu Chidambaram Pillai. In a way, I know that we have called our friends from Meenjur, Thiruvatiyur, Ten Chennai, Madhya Chennai, பிரதிநிதிகள் தான் வந்திருக்கீங்க, but a lot of relatives of Vavu Chidambaram Pillai. என்னை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் பாரதியார் எழுதினார் தமிழர்கள் பற்றி, புலிகளை மதிக்காத புழு தேசம் ஆகிட்டோம் நாங்கன்னு. எதுக்காக எழுதினார்னா, ஏன் அப்படி எழுதினா நம்ம யோசிச்சு பார்க்கணும். Two great bad things that Tamil Nadu has done. One, when பாரதியாருடைய அந்திம ஊர்வலத்தில் பாரதியார் இறந்துட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்காரு, 13 பேர் தான் இருந்தாங்க. அதான் வைரமுத்து எழுதினார், அங்கே மாக்களோட அங்கே ஈக்கள் தான் ஜாஸ்தியாக இருந்துச்சுன்னு. பெரிய தவறு பண்ணிட்டோம் பாரதியாருக்கு. ரெண்டாவது, வாவு சிதம்பரம் பிள்ளை, when he came out of jail in 1912 December, he is coming out of jail. அதே போல் அங்கே நேதாஜி சுபாஷ் சந்திர போஸ், அங்கே he is coming out of jail. 40,000 people received Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, although the government said they will put them into jail if they receive him. Here the same government said, if you meet Vausi, we'll put you in jail. 6 people came to receive Vausi. I'm sorry to say this, but this is the truth. புலிகளை மதிக்காத புழுக்கள் உள்ள தேசமா தமிழன் கேட்டார் பாரதியார். அது உண்மையாயிடுச்சு. Why are we gathered today? We are gathered here to make sure that such a martyr, such a patriot, anybody who spills his blood for our country, anybody who gives his life for freedom, for the nation, should not be forgotten in the future. தியாகத்தை மதிக்காத எந்த நாடும் செழிப்புற முடியாது என்கிறது ஒரு உண்மை. அந்த தியாகத்தை நம்ம மதிக்கவே கூடாது. I am going to give you 8 or 10 incidents from the life of Vausi before I finish up. 8 or 10 புகைப்படங்கள், snapshots, that's all. One snapshot. டாக்டர் ரவீந்திரன் சொன்னா போல, அவருக்கு ஸ்கூல் வாத்தியார் இல்லைன்னு எல்லாருக்கும் ஸ்கூல் கட்டிட்டாங்களா. அதான் சொல்லுவாங்க, நல்லவர் ஒருவர் இருந்தால் வான்மழை திறந்து எல்லாருக்கும் மழை பெய்யக்கூடும் சொன்னாங்க ஔவையார். அது போல the whole place benefited because there was no school there. His father built a school for him, and yet 6 people come to see this man when he comes out of jail. Second point, from returned. Many people say he did not return the money. I want to set the record straight. Mahatma Gandhi returned the money to Vau Chidambaram Pillai. And it's a great of Mahatma Gandhi that he gave back 347.12. அதுக்கு வட்டி இல்லையான்னு கேட்டாங்க, விட்டுட்டோம் எல்லாரும். ஏன்னா குஜராத்திஸ் வட்டி இருக்குன்னு. And that 347.12 was used by Vau Chidambaram Pillai. And the thank you letter கூட எல்லாருக்கிட்டையும் இருக்கு. So that's another little thing I wanted to tell you. Another thing I want to tell you, ஒரு snapshot. நிறைய பேர் எங்கள் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸாக இருப்பீங்க. பாரதியார், பாரதிதாசன், கீட்ஸ், ஷெல்லி, ரஜினி, கமல், அது மாதிரி ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸாக இருப்பீங்க. அந்த காலத்தில் 1905 to 1909 the whole Tamil Nadu erupted when Vau Chidambaram Pillai and Subramania Siva spoke together on stage. It is supposed to be one of the best things. And who has written about it? No, none other than the great Sri Aurobindo. Aurobindo Ghosh wrote, when I saw these two people speak, on one side, ஒரு நெருப்பு மாதிரி இருக்கான் சுப்பிரமணிய சிவா, first line to last line, bata 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 bata. Vausi style எப்படி தெரியுமா? He'll start slowly. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you. You must do this. You must do this. He'll start shouting towards the end. So ஒரு பக்கம் ஒரு நெருப்பா, ஒரு பக்கம் வந்து ஒரு பயங்கர ஒரு சூறாவளி காற்று. அந்த சூறாவளி காற்றும் ஒரு நெருப்பு இருந்தால் என்ன இருக்கும்? இடமே பத்துக்கிட்டு எரியும். அப்படி பத்துக்கிட்டு இருந்துச்சு தூத்துக்குடி, திருநெல்வேலி, சீமை எட்ஸெட்ரா. when Subramania Siva and Bharatiyar spoke together. அவருக்கு குட்டம் வந்து he had leprosy. Till his last day, they both were real good friends, like, Sholay friends or like any other friends. One more thing I want, another snapshot. He told his wife he was going to collect money. Now, money and buy the ship and come back from Bombay. His little child was very sick. I'm sure the whole family knows these things. அவர் அப்பா கிட்டேயும் அவர் ஃபேமிலி கிட்டேயும் ஒய்ஃப் கிட்டேயும் சொல்கிறாரா, நான் போய் கப்பலுடன் வருவேன், கடலில் கப்பலுடன் வருவேன், அல்லது அதே கடலில் மாய்வேன் எழுதிட்டு போனார். இதுதான் மணந்தால் மகாதேவி அல்லையேல் மரணதேவின்னு சொல்கிறோம்ல, அதோடைய பேசிஸ். அப்படி சொல்லிவிட்டு நான் செத்தா கூட பரவாயில்ல, கப்பலோடு தான் வருவேன்னு சொன்னார் நம்ம கப்பலொட்டிய தமிழர். அங்கே போகும்போது தந்தி வருது, உங்கள் பையன் இறந்துட்டான், மூத்த பையன் இறந்துட்டான், இறைவன் அவனை பார்த்துப்பான் சொல்லிட்டு அதையும் தாண்டி கப்பலை வாங்கிட்டு வந்தார் நம்ம வாவு சிதம்பரம் பிள்ளைங்கிறது நம்ம எல்லாரும் மனசில் வச்சுக்கணும். அப்பேற்பட்ட தியாகம். இங்கே எம்ஜிஆரோட பாட்டு சொன்ன மாதிரி மக்களுக்காக பண்ணுற மக்களுக்காக பாங்கன்னு சொல்லி நம்ம மக்களுக்கு தான் சில பேர் பண்ணுவாங்க. வேற இவர் வந்து தம் மக்களையே மக்களுக்காக கொடுத்த ஒரு தியாக செம்மல் இஸ் வாவு சிதம்பரம் பிள்ளை. another quick point, அவருக்கு 40 வருட கால சிறை தண்டனை. he got 40 years. அந்த 40 வருட கால தண்டனை ஜட்ஜ் பின் எழுதுறாராம். அதில் வந்து 20 வருஷம் எதுக்கு தெரியுமா? சுப்பிரமணிய சிவாக்கு அவர் சாப்பாடு போட்டார், அதுக்கு வந்து 20 வருஷம். கேன் யூ இமேஜின்? அண்ட் வாட் அ ஹாரிபிள் சென்டென்ஸ். அண்ட் 20 வருஷம் பிகாஸ் he had an anti-English sentiment. And the judge has quoted one paragraph. That paragraph I want to quickly tell all of you. அவர் சொல்லியிருக்காரா, this paragraph எல்லாரும், if you don't remember anything else today, take back the paragraph for which VOC got 40 years. And this paragraph is, in order to destroy the English, வெள்ளையனை வந்து இங்கிருந்து வெளியேறுன்னு சொல்கிறதுக்கு நமக்கு கத்தி வேண்டாம், வெடிகுண்டு வேண்டாம், துப்பாக்கிகள் வேண்டாம். 30 கோடி இந்தியர்களும் சேர்ந்து 30 crore Indians get together. ஒரு பெரிய மூச்சு விட்டாலே போதும், இந்திய ஆங்கிலேயர்களோட கப்பல்கள் திருப்பி அங்கே போயிடும் சொல்லிட்டு கடைசியில் எழுதினாராம், அந்த பெரிய மூச்சு 30 கோடி மக்கள் சேர்ந்து விடுவீர்களா எங்கதான் என்னுடைய அச்சம்னு கேட்டாரா அவர். You must remember this. Will you all take a deep breath and blow the English back to England? Can you? And we did not at that time. And we did not even now. We are still a divided people. We must, on this day, on Vausi's birthday, we must remember that he spoke about all of us being together. So in 1897, Swami Vivekananda wrote a letter in which he said, give me 100 Indians who will think and breathe India, and I will change the future of this country. We are looking for those 100 Indians, and perhaps we will get 10 or 20 or 30 of those 100 Indians here. We cannot look in the old age home. We have to look in the students, with the students in the schools and colleges, and that is the purpose of Youth for Nation, which was created by retired IAS officers, IPS officers. Shrikanji, please come to the front row. IAS officers, IPS officers, generals, colonels, so many martyrs and relations of martyrs who contributed to this Youth for the Nation. I also want to start by telling you, Mr. Bittaji, who's here, very rarely we only see real life heroes, especially youngsters. Ram Rajinikanth film, Vijay film, dish. 100 fellows will go flying in 100 directions. That's all. The only camera is fighting, not the hero. But here we have a hero with us who's actually fighting. This is a man who has been attacked and bombed by terrorists 14 times. It's a man who has lost a leg for the country. Yesterday I was with him. He's just metal. Yendran robot 3 mari irukku. If he has just metal in his legs, metal in his back, metal in his shoulders, fighting for our country still. And he's the chairman of the All India Anti-Terrorist Front. Every person who's here today must see people like this and must carry home memories of this well into our lives, that we were inspired by such people, and I would like to welcome him. Thank you, sir. Equally proficient we have with us Mr. Devnathan Yadav. Of course, அவர் வந்து போர் கடப்புனா அவர் அதே மாதிரி தான் சண்டை போடுவார். He has got that much of வீரமும் தீரமும் செறிந்த ஒரு உடம்பும் ஒரு மனசும் அவருது. என்னுடைய நண்பன் is also the head of a party that is very close to the part of the NDA, and he's written so many books. He's an educationist. He's also a television channel head. Youngsters must see people like this and be inspired by them on Teachers' Day. Thank you again, Mr. Yadav sir. We have my two friends, brothers, Anil Kapoor and Sushil Kapoor. Anil Kapoor na ellarum Bollywood la irundhu vandirukanga. Avanga paatha kuda Bollywood mari dhaan irupanga avangala. Nammala nikki vechi oru 4 vaati vella adicha dhaan avanga mari avum. But very good dear friends and brothers of mine who have been kind enough to bring Mr. Vitaji. You can see a simple gentleman sitting at the end. Youngsters, he is the grandson of the great Babu Chidambaram Pillai. வாசுகி ஆண்டி இன்னைக்கு வந்து ப்ரேயர் சொல்லும்போது சிவனையும் சிதம்பரத்தோடையும் ஆரம்பித்தாங்க. நம்ம பேச போகிறது இன்றைக்கி பாபு சிதம்பரம் பிள்ளை. அவருடைய கிராண்ட்சன் பேரும் சிதம்பரம். ஓட் ஆஃப் தேங்க்ஸும் கொடுக்க போகிறது ஒரு எம் சிதம்பரம். இட் ஜஸ்ட் ஸோ ஹேப்பன் தட் டுடேஸ் எல்லாம் சிதம்பரம் டே. இன்றைக்கி சிதம்பரம் வாரம் சொல்லுவாங்க. அது மாதிரி இன்றைக்கி சிதம்பரம் நாள். ஐம் வெரி ஹாப்பி டு ஹேவ் விஓசி பிள்ளைஸ் கிராண்ட்சன் ஹியர்.